All right, welcome to Hoops Tracker. This is Jerry Howard, your host. Sorry, we took a little break after watching playoffs, everything, wanted to get caught up on some things. Today, we're actually going to go back and take a look at the Final Four weekend for 5A, 6A boys. Looking forward to it. Without further ado, Hoops Tracker is your source for Colorado basketball. Remember, hoopstracker.net, and you follow us during the club season this spring and summer as well. We will continue the podcast, but we are jumping into um, our playoff and wrapping up the playoffs. Man, what a playoff it was. All I can say is this year, the playoffs were extremely exciting, overtime games, crazy games. But let's first talk about craziness. In 6A, Eagle Crest tops Mountain Vista 79-69 in overtime. Now, what's crazy about this, Mountain Vista is up by 2 with 14 seconds left. All they need to do is get the inbound in, and wow, Anthony Nettles takes control, steals the ball, goes down the court, hits the game tying shot to go into overtime. And then from then on out, it was Eagle Crest. Now, you have to look at things from a different perspective. There are obviously lots of plays going into that game, lots of things going on. But if you take a look at the breakdown, Cal Baskin, 21 points, Oliver Junkers, 16 points. They had three guys in double digits and was 14 seconds away from winning that game. Eagle Crest, on the other hand, man, they had everybody contributing. Anthony Nettles had the game of his life. He had 25 points, scoring most of those points, almost 10 of those points in the overtime. And then you have Lucas Kalimba with 11. You had four guys in double digits for Eagle Crest. Chris Coleman came up huge with 17 points. Garrett Barger just kept rolling, got 12, and they pulled off the upset. And I'm not quite sure this was an upset, but with 14 seconds left and being able to pass in that ball, um, it was a tight game. But a huge shout out to Cal Baskin with a phenomenal senior season. Now, a lot of people thought Rangeview was going to take out Valor. And what was interesting in this game was in order to beat Valor, you have to shut down Cole Scher, and that did not happen. However, if you're looking at, um, you're looking at stats and you're looking at everything, Cole had 39 points in this game over Rangeview. Um, Nobody else scored double digits for Valor. Brady Winja had 9, but Cole had 39. Now you go back and you take a look at Rangeview. Ladavian King had 21, kind of got his numbers. Marcellus Duncan was held to 7 points. All the other players, Aiden Perez, Kenny Black Knox, Archie Witherspoon, they all scored single digits, and those guys are powerful shooters. Valor's swarming defense, and you can see here, um, number 24, Ryan Mendez. I mean, all night long, it was a physical game, but Valor came out on top, which leads us into the defending state champion defending their state title against Eagle Crest in that final game. Wow. All I can say, great game, fun atmosphere. It went back and forth. Valor, Cole, 35 points. Cole scores over 100 points in the Elite Eight, gets over 2,000 points for his college or his high school career, just blows up. And Brady Winja had 14. This game was really key, but where this game was won by Eagle Crest, nobody was as dominant as Cole. But Anthony Nettles had 14. Garrett Barger had 12 again. Chris Coleman came up big, but Jason Noon the senior point, I believe senior point guard. He came up with 11 points. He normally doesn't score that much, but that was the key. This championship game was huge. Cole Scher goes out, Gatorade Player of the Year, 6A Player of the Year for Chassa. Hoops Tracker has a different story. We're going to release our All-Star and 6A player. Nothing to take away from Cole. Cole has had a phenomenal senior season. But Anthony Nettles, who won the state championship and drove his team, got his team to the finals, and then closed it out, has a little bit of a tip of the hat from Hoops Tracker. We'll go into some of the other games as we talked about. That Rangeview Valor game was huge. Valor came out on top. Marcellus Duncans, like we said, held to single digits in that game. You know, this Rangeview team is loaded. Not only were they undefeated going into this game, and they barely pulled out a win in the Elite Eight over Regis, but this team is loaded. They will definitely back in 6A, and they will have a chip on their shoulders. We'll get to that. All right, let's dive into the 5A championships and Final Four. Again, super, super exciting. Windsor, after 2 years, finally gets past Mesa Ridge. And how do they do that? Madden Smiley, John Backhouse, they had some key plays going into that game, and they were on a mission. What's interesting is in the third quarter, they held Mesa Ridge to only 9 points, and that was the big difference, is them coming out, making adjustments in the second half. Going into the half, they were up 33-29, and all I can say is Madden Smiley crushed it. Had 17 points in this game. Thales Price comes up big with 14. Looking at John Backhouse, he had 12, but the surprise one that came out shooting and hitting all of his shots was Brady Kingsley, coming out huge in this game to launch them into the finals. Bryce Reese was interesting in this game. Bryce Reel was only held to 10 points. Now that comes out to playing. Coach John at Windsor knew that they had to stop Bryce if they wanted to win this game, and they did. Xander Iwanski had 13, but Jamarius Jones, a really good player for Mesa Ridge, comes up huge with 20. So if Bryce Reel comes up and scores what he normally scores, it might be a different story. But hats off to Windsor. Green Mountain, holy smoke, they have not been to the Elite Eight or the Final Four since 1992. Man, all I can say is Coach Puccio had his team primed, ready for Green Mountain. Both Green Mountain and Falcon had knocked off top seeds earlier, but Trey Gutierrez, 24 points in this big game against Falcon. Big players step up in big moments. Simon Lunsford, who has been the team's spark, they were on a 7 or 8 game winning streak going into this game, had 24 points. And then Jack Swanson came up huge, or Jake, not Jack, Jake Swanson came up huge, and he scored 16 points, dominated the boards. His twin brother, Ben, came in, played great defense. They overtook Falcon. When we look at Falcon and the season they had a phenomenal season. They had 4 guys scoring double digits, with Tyler Cox being their leading scorer at 17, Aiden Wood, Jeremiah Potts with 11, Aiden with 10, but just not enough. Congratulations to the Falcon team for a great season. Now, diving into this championship game, man, this was everything that you wanted in a game, and it came down to a key matchup. As you can see here, Simon Lunsford, super athletic, three-sport athlete, gonna go play D2 baseball as a pitcher, already throws 90. Guy's got a huge career in baseball, but man, can he hoop. This matchup between Simon Lunsford and Madden Smiley was key during this game. Why? Madden Smiley and Simon, the leading scorers, the leaders on their team. And man, all I can say is Madden Smiley stepped up to the plate. He was huge. For Madden in the game, he scores 25 points. And who else but senior John Backhouse steps up with 18. They dominate Green Mountain going into this, winning the championship. Now, Simon Lunsford usually averages 20 plus points a game, was held to 5 points. If he scores his normal, Green Mountain wins. And that's why this matchup was the key matchup of the game. Coach John knew it. They worked on him. Now, they have lots of weapons at Green Mountain, and they have a lot of young players, juniors, coming back next year as seniors. Jake and Ben Swanson. You got Trey Gutierrez who helped get them there. You've got Sam Malens. Sam is one of the top sophomores in the state, and man, can this young man shoot. He scored 20 in this top game. He was, I mean, usually stars are born in the Coliseum, and this one, he pulled out a great performance. If they got bigger performances out of Trey, who only scored 5 points, and Simon, and some of the other players, this would be a different story. But Windsor, who lost in the state championship last year, lost in the Final Four the previous year, both to Mesa Ridge, overcame that mountain and stepped up and performed and played just played phenomenally. Hats off to both coaches and teams. It was a great playoff run for both teams. Puccio, man, this Green Mountain team, they will be back, and they will be back with a vengeance. They are loaded. We will see. Now, can Windsor defend that state title? That's a topic for another time. Here are the final Hoop Tracker rankings for the year. Eagle Crest, number 1, Valor 2, Mountain Vista 3, Rangeview 4, Ralston Valley 5, Shap, Regis, Thunder Ridge, Smoky, and Horizon. Now, out of a lot of these teams, I expect to see a lot out of Horizon next year, Thunder Ridge, Shap especially. The Ralston Valley team, they graduate Tanner and one other senior, and everybody else is coming back. So I expect them to be at the top. And of course, Rangeview, this team is loaded. Mountain Vista's got Oliver Junker. Man, it's going to be a great offseason to watch these players. And then for the final 5A rankings, we got Windsor, Green Mountain, Mesa Ridge, Falcon, Dakota Ridge, Montrose, Stanley Lake, Sand Creek, Lutheran, and Discovery Canyon. Now, what about the lower rankings? We'll talk about the 4A and the 3A state champions, but Kent Denver, right? That Metro League, Kent Denver, Colorado Academy, Prospect Ridge, all 3 of these teams are in the same league, and 3 out of the top 4 teams came from that league. Hats off to Kent Denver for finally winning a state championship. Now, going back, Windsor, they hadn't won a basketball championship since their school inception, which is over 100 years. Kent Denver, I want to say over 30 plus years. So huge shout out to those programs. Big shout out to Coach Steve Hyatt at Colorado Academy for overcoming and getting his team to the finals. Prospect Ridge, Cole Ridge played phenomenally, just not enough firepower. And Kent Denver, this team played against some of the top 6A teams and won with Caleb Fay, Gil Shays, Elvis Lloyd. I mean, this whole team was loaded and stacked. A lot of them graduate except for Caleb. We'll see how they can defend that title. Then you got the Academy, who shocked some people by a big win. University, Timnath, Fort Lupton. Peak to Peak rounds out the top 10, as well as Aspen. Peak to Peak was the number 2 seed, expected to get there, but got knocked out in the Sweet 16. Well, we'll see how that rolls for next year. 3A, obvious champion, not obvious, but Resurrection Christian wins their second straight title. They were the 4A state champions this last year. They had beaten Kent Denver earlier this year. This team is flat out loaded and on a mission, but Strasburg gave them a game. It was interesting because Tice Bowlers was held to, I think, one of his lower scoring totals, but Resurrection Christian put together a defense. Windsor Charter. Now, this league, this Patriot League, puts 3 of the top 4 players or top teams in the 3A Final Four. Centauri rounds out the top 4. You got Yuma, you got Skyview Academy, Highland, Forge Christian, Banning Lewis. That'll round out our top 10. All right, here we go. Going into the spring and the summer, we will be out hitting a lot of the club tournaments and watching and reporting on teams, how they're doing on the circuit. Please stay posted and stay in tune with Hoops Tracker. You can always follow us at Hoops Tracker as our handle for Instagram and Twitter. Also, we want to make sure you guys, if you want to hear your name, you want to hear some things, report your game stats, report things, coaches, club coaches especially, send us information. We are looking for this. We're excited to be back this spring and summer, and we're already going to be hitting a bunch of tournaments as we go on, and we look forward to having everybody. We'll get interviews on the show. We'll be doing alumni. We'll also be doing coaches. We'll be doing players. So keep your eye out for Hoops Tracker. We look forward to talking to you guys and seeing you guys on the recruiting trail. And that's it for Jerry Howard at Hoops Tracker, your source for Colorado basketball.